And we're delighted to welcome to the studio Stella ter Hart, who is joining us from her home just outside uh, Toronto in a town called Kingston. Welcome, Stella.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Happy to be here, Steve.
Wonderful to see you. And we'll just jump in with a piece of yours that was performed. You're a composer and also a pianist and a flutist, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But this piece is called Streams of Thought for Piano Quintet, and it's music by yourself. And it was inspired by the poetry of someone by the name of Kay Smith, who is described here as a poet and a feminist. So tell us a little bit about Kay Smith and how this inspired this piece.
So I first met Kay. She was quite elderly at the time in the year 2000.
Hmm.
And, she and I chatted. This was a lady she was probably 80 at the time. So in the year 2000, you're an 80-year-old feminist, which means you're born in around 1920. So she had quite a battle ahead of her. And New Brunswick is a very small, sparsely populated province in Canada, of course. So she was a bit of a one of a kind in her area, you could say for sure. And her music is so evocative and it's so internal and it's so personal. So I took four of her little poems and originally set them for soprano and piano. And then years later, I set them for piano quintet so that there's no speaking or singing, but the essence of the poem is created through the word painting and the tonal imagery within the instrumental music.
And each movement relates to a poem, and it's very beautiful writing. Maybe you could read a little bit of each of the movements. Very short, but very evocative, almost like a haiku. But it seems very.
Absolutely. Yes. So, for example, the one of them is called "At the Bottom of the Dark." I awoke to hear the curtains of the rain and a bird in song. That's it. So the music that I then was inspired to create starts off very dark. You're dead asleep. You're approaching that sleep wakefulness. So there's dissonance, there's shifting harmonies and rhythms. And then the piano comes in with a rain-like sparkling effect. That's the curtain of the rain. And then you come to a full wakefulness with all of these bird trills that are featured in the violins and the viola. So
Well,
that's how I created that piece using that imagery.
and the second movement also is again based on a little brief. Are these the whole poems, or have you chosen excerpts?
Those are the
So
whole
the
poems, yes. And at the beginning of each movement, I cite the poem so that the
uh-huh.
performers have a sense of the imagery that they're trying to create.
Hmm.
And another little poem is called Who Can See? And it's who can see to the bottom of any well or any soul?
Um,
That's it. That's it. And you think about what that means. You can't see to the bottom of a well. You can't see into the bottom of a person's soul. So how as a composer, how I take a little snippet of poetry and turn that into a movement in a four movement work is the challenge and the joy of being able to do that. Hopefully I was successful.
and let's read fourth, the fourth poem.
So the fourth one is fun, and in this piece is very tonal. There's nothing about it that's supposed to be all mysterious. It's called When a Woman Shops. And the poem is when a woman shops for clothes, she surveys herself in mirrors with a man's eye. So imagine you, Steve, you go out for shopping and you're going on a date. So you're going to survey yourself in the mirror with a woman's eye. And so the opposite is true. Many women, when we go shopping, we're really not shopping for ourselves. We're shopping as if someone else is looking at us. So the piece is flirty, it's precocious, it's got some twists and turns as she looks back and forth in the mirror, and it ends on a flirty, fun, high flourish.
Right. There might be some feminists who might take some objection to that, but who cares?
Who cares? She was a feminist, and that's what
She
she
was
wrote.
a feminist. She
There
was
you
a
go.
feminist. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's very wonderful. Now, tell us about some of your other pieces that you've written, because I've heard some of them on YouTube, and they're very beautiful and very flowing and very evocative pieces that you write. How would you describe your own style as a composer?
Well, thank you for that comment, Steve. I appreciate that. Always nice to hear. I am an unabashed melodist. For many years, I was an accompanist for opera companies. And so in my ear, you always have these gorgeous arias, these beautiful vocal sounds. So when I write, and I write a lot of choral music, I like to write music that I believe is going to have an emotional impact. So there's always a melody. There's always a melody. You can go away whistling, you can go away humming, or you can go away singing, even if it's instrumental. Every once in a while, I'll put in some colors, some bit of avant-garde, a little bit of sneakiness that kind of breaks the rules. But overall, I would describe myself as an unabashed melodist. My choirs would not be happy with me if I gave them something that, that they didn't want to sing.
Right. So you conduct two choirs. Now you also have quite a little background educational. You told me that you have, I have one degree, but you have four.
I do. So I went to the Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto, and they offer a number of disciplines. In every instrument, in every voice, you can get degrees in trumpet performance, you can get degrees in piano education. So for whatever reason, I decided to do four. I did education. I also did musicology. I did performance, which for me was the most difficult because I'd much rather compose than perform. And then I did a composition degree as well.
That's really amazing. And you're still very active. You have two choirs. Are those choirs that you have put together and are the conductor of?
I'm the director of both of those choirs. One choir is celebrating its 30th anniversary, so I did not start that choir. I'm director number 5 in line, and it's an all women's choir.
Uh-huh.
It's a community choir. So one of my choirs is semi-professional, one is community. The community choir is you need to be able to sing in tune, you need to be able to read notes, but you don't have to be a professional. You can just love music. It's a ton of fun. The other choir is semi-professional, chamber choir mixed. It's got 26 voices split between, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, so males and females, and they do much more difficult music. So for me, it's very satisfying because I have the whole gamut of, we can do something fun and easy with my women's choir. We can do something really challenging and difficult with my other choir.
Well, exceptional. Are any of those performances available on YouTube as well?
I have a lot of performance available on YouTube, none from my choirs because we never seem to get them recorded, or somebody's husband is there with their phone. It doesn't
Right.
Yes, but I have quite a few recordings on YouTube.
And tell us what's in the future for you. What compositions are coming up, and what performances would you like to tell us about?
Well, right now I'm working on a set of 3 pieces for choir that are designed for middle school, elementary school, like junior high, sort of that grade 12, that 12-year-old to 15-year-old age group. I had the privilege, just after I was in New York, I had the privilege of being in Charlotte, North Carolina, for the International Choral Composers Symposium.
Oh, wow.
And there were publishers from across the United States. Briley was there, J.W. Pepper as a distributor was there, Carl Fisher, Hinshaw, and they talked about the need for educational music. So a lot of composers are focused on the professional performer, the big gig, the big hall. But where do these performers come from? They come out of our middle schools, out of our junior highs and our high schools. So I was inspired to sort of turn my attention to writing for young people, where they are at emotionally, where they're at physically with their ability to sing, to understand music, to produce music. So I've completed 2, and I'm now working on a set of 3, and I hope to be able to submit those for publication. And you never know, they could get sung by little people somewhere, which is just as inspiring for me as being performed in the big concert hall with the professionals.
Yes, I agree. I've devoted a lot of my career to shining a spotlight on young performers. I started a program at my radio station in Chicago, which was an all classical station, called Introductions, and it's designed for pre-college instrumentalists, singers, bands, choruses, and orchestras. And people told me, particularly with the instrumentalists, that I'd run out in 6 months. And the program has now been running for 18 years.
Fabulous. Just fabulous.
Yeah, it's actually the only program of its kind on American radio, even to this day, because we're the only station that does it. So I believe in that as well. I've also was on the board of the Chicago Children's Choir. I don't know if you've heard about them, but they're one of the best children's choirs in the United States.
Just
So
amazing.
if you ever get a chance to write for a children's choir, you want to get in touch with the Chicago Children's Choir.
Well, Steve, I wrote a piece for children's choir that won an award here in Canada. I also my husband and I, we have an organic orchard. On our organic apple orchard, we have pigs, really cute pigs. So I wrote a song to a pig called Rita called Ode to the Pig. And it won an award here in Canada. It was premiered by the Wisconsin Children's Choir. I should send it to the Chicago Children's Choir because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Send it to Josephine Lee. Her name is Josephine Lee.
Okay.
She's been there for now 15 years. She's an extraordinary musician, pianist, and they have a number of choirs. They have like 4 different choirs. You can imagine different levels. And it's one of the best in the country. So send it to Josephine. Tell her I sent you.
I will. Thank you, Steve.
Okay. Well, good luck with the orchard. Do the pigs eat the apples out there? Do they enjoy those when they fall?
Yes. So these are very special pigs. We digress from music. They're called kuni pigs, and they don't dig in the ground because they have short snouts like a bull terrier. So they eat all the apples off the ground, which keeps the orchard floor disease-free. And they eat weeds, they eat grass, they sleep under the trees. They come greet you as you're picking apples. It's a little ridiculous, but super fun.
Do you raise them for food or not?
Some of them do end up. Yes, they do. You can't keep all of them. Only the mean ones. Only the mean ones go. The nice ones we keep.
That's very nice. Well, on that note, we'll let you go, and good luck with all your future endeavors, and you have many. So we appreciate the time you've spent with us.
Thank you so much, Steve. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.